Before we dive in, here's another show you can enjoy in the True Story FM family of entertainment podcasts.
Meet Zinnia.
You are being very polite to someone who is attempting to kill us.
Her wife, Saffron.
You know I'm wildly, madly in love with you.
And their best friend, Goldie.
Glad we didn't miss all the fun.
Swords in hand, they defend their city from the worst of humanity.
I am Lord Buxton Blue.
Equity Electric.
Herr Haig. Virgil Walcott. Vicious Suave.
Follow their adventures on the Swashbuckling Ladies Debate Society audio drama podcast. Available now at truestory.fm/swashbuckling.
Hey, movie lovers, I'm Pete Wright.
And I'm Andy Nelson. We are the hosts of the Next Reel Film Podcast.
If you're passionate about films like we are, you'll love our show. Each week, we dive deep into a movie, discussing everything from the story and performances to the cinematography and score.
Not to mention budgets and awards. We have covered iconic series like Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather trilogy, examining themes of power, family, and the dark side of the American dream.
We've explored the works of groundbreaking directors like Catherine Bigelow, discussing her mastery of tension.
We've looked at heist films, great car chases, great years in film, couples on the run, and more.
Our discussions go beyond the surface, examining what makes each film tick. We believe that when the movie ends, the conversation begins.
And we'd love for you to join that conversation. Find the Next Reel Film Podcast on your favorite podcast app or at thenextreel.com.
The Next Reel. When the movie ends,
our conversation begins.
Coming up on The Devil's Details, don't let the pearly gates hit you where the good Lord split you. Goethe's Faust Part 2, Act 5, Finale. Spoilers, he goes to heaven. I think you can already tell how I feel about that, but... yeah. Right. This guy gets to go to heaven, but I gotta work for it, I guess, apparently. Jesus. Good morning, Star, and welcome to another episode of The Devil's Details, a show where we dig up, decipher, dissect, and deconstruct the many forms of the devil. One of my names is Lester Ryan Clark.
And I sometimes go by Keenan Diaz.
And we're just two lost souls hitchhiking down the highway to hell. So last time, folks, you'll remember we had the Emperor fighting the rebels.
Right,
Right?
He's like, I'll give you some manly men.
Manly men. And it was Bully Boy, grab quick and hold tight. But it was also Basher, Snatcher, and Grasper.
Yeah, right.
Basher, Snatcher, and Grasper sound like either Santa's evil reindeer.
Right. Maybe they have troubles at home.
Sure, yeah, right. Krampus's reindeer. Those are the ones that, Or they sound like Cruella de Vil's henchmen.
Yes.
Basher, Snatcher, Grasper.
I don't care what you do with the little brutes.
I don't care what you do with Faust. Drown him. But yeah, and so now this is it, folks. This is the final act. This is you're going to get the answer to the question: will Faust be saved or will he be dragged to hell?
Yeah.
Right? This is with how many weeks did you say before we started recording?
10 weeks, Lester.
10 weeks. And folks, we're not even talking about Marlowe's Faust, right? Or Marlowe's Dr. Faustus, right? We did that first, right? And that was like what? You said 5 weeks?
5 weeks of that. 5 weeks of play.
5 weeks. 5 weeks and then so 5 weeks of Marlowe. 5 weeks of Goethe's Faust Part 1. 5 weeks of Goethe's Faust Part 2. This is becoming Faust's details. There's more Mephistopheles in here than there is any. This is like, there are more bad episodes of The Simpsons now.
That must be true at this point.
Yeah,
I guess so.
After season 20, right? Folks. Yeah, we're almost done. We got the opera, which I've been watching.
Cool.
The Royal Ballet and Opera does a spectacular rendition of it, and I've been captivated. This is like I'm kind of also learning about opera, right, and how different it is from even musical theater, not just theater but musical theater. It's amazing, and I'm looking at one of my favorite stories, The Phantom, in a whole new light as well. Right?
Cool.
Yeah. So, and we'll talk about that. And then after that, we are going to take
No.
What?
After that, we're going to talk about the F.W. Murnau movie.
Oh, yes. I was going to say, right. We're going to take a little break right at the end of the season, and we're going to, go and we're going to talk about that at the end of the episode. But no, also, Keenan very, very much wants to do a special episode for you guys and give it to you for free.
You don't know what you're missing with this movie, Lester.
Okay. Well, yeah, but and the people aren't going to know what they're missing either because they're going to get it for free. Keenan. But we love you guys, so we're going to do it.
Yeah, but
first,
Faust, is like the most important German story, I guess. As everyone says, it's like the biggest work of German literature.
It's their like that. That's what they keep saying. That's what I keep on hearing. It's like Goethe is their Shakespeare. Not to kind of like one-on-one compare, but like that's like this is the story is Faust. Yeah.
I mean, in the same time it took to read these two plays by Goethe, you could have read all of the Grimm's tales.
Yeah.
So you could read Snow White in about 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Not even 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You could get a good chunk of Shakespeare's stuff done with that. Yeah.
But anyways, we did it. Let's pat ourselves on the back. But I guess we had to do it first.
We gotta. We're at the home stretch. We're at Mount Doom.
Right.
And we're like, but we're not at the top. We're at the bottom, and we're like. Frodo's it's like, we did it, Mr. Frodo. And it's like, well, I think we got to climb it. We got to, we got to get up there and throw the ring in. That's, yeah.
I think you could skip ahead in the movie when that happens, when they're down there.
Yeah.
I think so. Again, I've only seen it once.
But, I don't, like,
does
it's
anything
not
fundamentally change?
It's not a question of like, scientifically you can press the the fast forward button and it will happen. It's not like Gandalf is going to pop up. It's like, you shall not scrub. Right? We are allowed to do that. Yeah. And listeners, you can also scrub through, like whatever it is we're doing right now, instead of talking about Faust.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. I'm not stalling. Let's go. All right. So, yes, this is Act 5. And our first scene is we open on a broad landscape. Right? That's what the book says. So, quite a bit of time has passed, and Faust has spent about half of his life on this project of pushing back the ocean. Half of his life. That was the first part was all Gretchen, right?
That's right.
And then the second part was it's like Helen of Troy and wine, women, and song and Walpurgis Nights and classic Walpurgis Nights and there's the homunculus, by homunculus, and there's like all
the battle of the mighty men and the
right.
And
the Emperor
money.
Part 1, the Emperor Part 2, right? Somehow the Emperor has returned, and all of that pales in comparison because now and then the very very last thing, Mephistopheles comes on with those 7-league boots and he's like, okay, so what's actually going to make you happy? And he's like, I want to push this sea back from this land and create a whole real estate thingy thing. And Mephistopheles says, that's easy. Let's do that. And flash forward half of his life.
Whatever that is.
For this, right?
Yeah, so he got the emperor to agree to the archbishop telling the emperor that Faust is going to get basically the whole north shore of Germany, right? Which is its only shore.
Yes.
It's the north part of it.
If you know your geography, folks. Yeah. Which the archbishop / chancellor whom we were convinced was Mephistopheles with all his wheeling and dealing.
Right.
But then we remembered no, because he was a character before. So
right.
Yeah. But yeah, so now we're on this landscape, right? And a traveler comes to this wide open landscape looking to visit some old friends who live in a cottage nearby. And he calls out, and this elderly couple comes out. Baucus, I'm going to say?
It looks like Bacchus, but it's not. Yeah, it's Baucus,
right.
Baucis.
Yeah. And her husband, Philemon, I'm going to say.
Right. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, and these are characters from classical mythology who were known for their hospitality and devotion to the gods.
That makes sense. So they're from Ovid's Metamorphosis, and I couldn't, beyond reading the Metamorphosis, I couldn't figure out what the connection was. So thanks for that. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, but like once again, we have just like what Dante was doing before, where it's like you have real people from ancient Rome and ancient Greece, and then you also have the Minotaur.
Right.
Right. So we have met real people like the Holy Roman Emperor, etc. Right. Helen of Troy, etc. But we're also we're also seeing it's like, oh yes, and also Baucus and Philemon are here. Right. Yeah.
That's so interesting because obviously those are like fixed stories, right? But I'm like, when I go back and watch like a lot of the old like roasts, the Comedy Central roasts, which I think are very funny, a lot of them. But I was like, oh geez, like Kim Kardashian has been made fun of in like every single one of those roasts for 20 years, but she's changed. And so like the punchline at the beginning, like if the punchline was Kim Kardashian, that meant something at the beginning, which was about sex tapes. And then 10 years later, Kim Kardashian did not mean that. Kim Kardashian was a punchline for reality TV.
Right.
And so like how do you like scrub through the entirety of like what did this joke mean now? Like what is it going to mean for 30 people in 3025 as they're just listening? Like,
oh yeah,
Kim Kardashian, and then like Kim Kardashian sex tape. That joke doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about?
You mean Empress Kardashian? Of the,
that's right. Yeah, because that's
of the Kardashian Islands. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's the joke. Now the punchline is that she is the reasonable person in a relationship with Kanye West.
Yeah.
So the punchline of Kim Kardashian is like, look at her and her problems with her husband.
Yes. Do you hear that, folks? Mm-hmm. Do you hear? Like, she has become the less crazy one.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Cool.
But yeah,
well, I'm glad you found that because I was like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Why are they here? Why are we going to murder them later on?
Right. Yeah. But to me, it's like like actual German history, and then out of this little cottage come Hansel and Gretel, and it's like
right.
Yeah. All right. So Philemon fills the traveler in on what's been happening. So. This is so stupid.
That's really stupid.
Okay. Yeah, Faust has actually succeeded in creating this paradise-like new land along the coast, but it wasn't without a cost. There's this grand palace there that was built through human suffering and sacrifice, of course, because Faust.
Or is it just because grand palace?
Oh well, yeah. Any kind of like large like real estate thing, right?
Yeah, is it just like capitalism? Some capitalism is Pinkberry and some capitalism is Diamond Mines, but it's all capitalism.
Yeah, and some capitalism is just T-shirts with the word capitalism and one of those big like no smoking sign crosses on it. And people are like, I hate capitalism too. Let me buy it.
We can make a killing off of those.
The factory destroys hundreds of miles of forest.
Hey, where'd all my truffle trees go?
Yeah.
There used to be a whole forest of truffle trees here.
Lorax is like, I'm not even trying anymore. Yeah.
Oh, my voice is going. We're supposed to tell everyone I have walking pneumonia. So if you're wondering why I don't know what I sound like to you all. I wish that when Lester gets sick, he prefers his voice, right?
Yes, it actually really sounds very good.
I think Lester's voice always sounds good.
Oh,
I don't care for the sound of my own voice, and I wish that that I sounded like what I wish I sound like is Kathleen Turner when I'm sick, like Jessica Rabbit, But I don't think that's right. Right now in my voice, I sound like in my head I sound like Jeff Garlin from Curb Your Enthusiasm. So I don't know what I sound like to you all. I can't imagine.
He did a great impression of Sideshow Bob right before we recorded.
You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to go all in and out. I'm going to be all over the place today. Sorry.
Yeah. So just so you know, folks, and I am also nursing a little bit of a migraine. So if I sound testy at any point,
with Goethe,
it's like, what the fuck is happening here? No. Yeah. But yeah.
But anyways, we're still doing it. We're still doing Faust for you
because we love you, and also because we have sold our souls, and this is our punishment. No. Okay. But yeah. So this traveler comes. We're talking about human suffering and sacrifice. Hey.
Right.
Yeah. So these guys, they all sit down to eat in this couple's garden, and Baucus. Dang it! How did we say it just like 10 seconds ago?
Not Jim Baucus, Mr. Magoo.
Right.
I think we decided Baucus.
Baucus, yeah, right. What's this devil guy doing?
Oh, I didn't know you had a Mr. Magoo. Very good.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. That'll really impress you with the children 70 years ago. We could figure out a way to make money off of children 70 years ago.
Yes. They'll be like, oh, it's Mr. Magoo. Oh. I thought everyone had forgotten about Mr. Magoo. Yeah.
They'll send in their pennies.
Yes, they will.
Taped to postcards to send to Banana for Scale. mail@gmail.com.
Right. Which is a physical place. It's a factory that makes T-shirts that says "No capitalism." Yeah. But yeah, okay, so they all sit down in this couple's garden, and Baucus mentions that Faust has his eye on their cottage.
Right.
Philemon adds that Faust even offered them an estate on his new land in exchange, but they will not take the deal. They're devoted to their faith and their simple way of life, and they're not about to trade that for Faust's questionably acquired wealth.
Yeah.
I don't think the issue is the like how he got his wealth. I think it's so basically he wants to take their land.
Yes.
And like bulldoze it and make a shopping mall or whatever.
He doesn't even care what he uses it for. He just wants the entire coast like he was promised.
Right, yeah. So remember, folks, like I told you, it's like, oh, it seems like, Faust is learning and it feels like he's on the path of salvation. And I said, nope, there's going to be one more thing that Faust does that you're going to be like, well, fuck it. Why doesn't this guy get dragged down to hell? Right?
Right. But yeah, so he's offered them an upgrade. They can go and live like kings and queens, but they don't want that kind of a life.
Right.
And he, at this point in his life, he doesn't understand that at all.
Right, yeah. Like he cannot comprehend that. Yeah.
Right. So this guy who comes and visits, he considers them like surrogate parents, and they're sitting down and they're having one last meal is what I was trying not to say. But they're having one last meal as they're talking about, oh, it's crazy, that guy over there, our neighbor, it really has it out for us.
Yeah. So now we find Faust at 100 years old, pacing. He's still young enough to pace around in this fancy garden outside of his palace. All right, and he's totally fixed on this one thing. He still does not own Baucus and Philemon's cottage with its little grove of linden trees and its chapel. He cannot stand the idea that there's any shade that doesn't belong to him. And he's so bothered by it that he wishes he could just be somewhere else entirely. Right.
Yeah, there's a little guy up in the tower who sort of watches over everything. And he says this crazy thing, which then they continue on. But he says that that rich people are always complaining about whatever they can't get, and they're not happy for what they do get.
Right. You said he says this crazy thing? That sounds pretty spot on, actually.
I think it's crazy to say to the rich person's face.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
He's like, it's 5 o'clock and all is well, and you're kind of a bitch about how you don't get that piece of land. And Faust is like, oh, it's 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
because he hears that other part all the time.
That's all he hears. Yeah. But okay, this impressive ship loaded with treasure shows up in the canal nearby. Mephistopheles and the 3 mighty men, they're back.
3 mighty men.
Yeah.
Characters from the previous act. What are you doing here?
Is this the first time that's happened? Usually it's a one and done thing, remember, folks? Right? Each of these acts is a play within itself.
Yeah.
And they start unloading all this cargo.
They do things for the plot.
Yes.
2 successive acts. That's odd. What an odd thing to do.
And Mephisto's going on about like how the best way to get rich is through this trinity. I like what he does there of war, trade, and piracy. Right? Basically, might makes right. But like also that's the perfect like devil trinity. It's like, and it's not even a devil trinity. He's criticizing human beings, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's perfect. I love it.
I wonder why, that's why as I was reading this, because I was thinking about a devil trilogy between Satan, the devil, and Lucifer, which we've talked about before.
Right. Well, that's kind of ours. That's like our show thing. Because like when we say the devil, it has, I mean, in my mind, there's 3 versions of the devil, right? There's the fallen angel Lucifer, looks like David Bowie, right? Then there's like Satan, the giant monster, with like flames all around him, and he looks like the Dante version, down there, right? And then there's when we say the devil, he looks like the character on Cuphead.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And that version is something like the Holy Spirit as well, that he's sort of everywhere. People are like, the devil's going to get you. Be careful of the devil. Yeah.
And he pulls pranks and he's trickstery and he's
yeah, exactly. And if something went bad, it's not Lucifer or Satan doing that to you. It's the devil.
It's the devil, right?
Yeah.
And like every time something does happen, he's like, every time you are met with a misfortune, like he's just out of eyesight behind a tree, and he kind of goes, yes!
Right, exactly.
Yeah, right? And every time you do a good deed, you help an old lady across the street, right? He kind of slaps his knees like, aw, fiddlesticks, right? And he shakes his fist at you, you know?
Yeah. So, as we're wrapping up here with Goethe's version, like he says, Mephistopheles says he is the devil, and he'll refer to Lucifer a little bit later on. So I was thinking about that again. Like, is it possible that the devil refers to himself by one of his names? Sure, the devil can do whatever he wants. But I was like, I wonder. Yeah, I was trying to think and sum up, like, how are Mephistopheles? Which version is he? Is he
right?
Lucifer, Satan, the devil.
He started out this play very Lucifer-y. Oh, no. Actually, no. He started out this play as the lowercase Satan. He's up there in the clouds with God, being like Lord. And Derek Jacobi was like, have you considered my servant Faust, right? Instead of Job. And so that was like, the Satan, the lowercase Satan. But then as soon as he got down on earth, he was the medieval devil. Like just prancing around and with his little leotard and having a good old time.
Right.
But even with all this new wealth, Faust is still miserable. Of course he is. Right? Because he's a miser. That's what a miser is.
Yeah.
Right? You have all this stuff, but you're miserable, right? He's obsessing over the cottage, the grove, the chapel, because he wants to build this platform where he can stand and look out over everything that he's created in one sweeping view. So he doesn't even want it as a house. He wants it as like a balcony, as an extension. To his place, right?
To play God, I think.
Yeah, right. He's
now,
tired
there's
of
something over there, like if God were looking over creation in Genesis and being like, oh, everything except for that little piece is my creation. And I don't know, God is powerful enough that he wouldn't have a mistake like that, I suppose.
Right.
And he's also merciful enough that he wouldn't care, I guess.
Exactly. Right? But Faust is not that.
Right.
So he's tired of trying to be fair about it. So he just orders Mephisto and the three mighty men to get rid of Baucus and Philemon. And Mephisto's like, okay, sure, we'll just move them somewhere else, give them a nice new place. And then he mutters to the audience that this is just the same old story playing out again.
Right.
So what does he mean by this? He means that this is how humanity treats each other, or he sees through Faust. He's like, yeah, like. This is like Faust hasn't learned a damn thing.
I think that might be it. Yeah, there's nothing. There's like he thinks he's special, and he's not. Even with all this power, and I guess Mephistopheles has seen this kind of thing before.
Yeah, right.
Even when it's like Eve having the power, there's only two people, and she's the most powerful person all of a sudden, and it gets to her head in his version of it, right?
Right. Yeah. So this is like he's seen humans come and go. Faust isn't the worst, and he's certainly not the best. Right. This is more of the same. Right.
Right.
Okay, so now we got the next scene where Faust's palace, and Faust is on this balcony. So it's a different balcony. It's not the one that he wants made. But the palace watchman is up in his tower as night falls, singing while he looks out over Faust's kingdom. Suddenly he sees sparks and fire erupting through the linden grove. He's worried about Baucus and Philemon getting caught up in the smoke. The fire completely destroys the grove and the chapel, and the watchman's lamenting how something that used to be so beautiful is now just gone forever.
Right.
So Faust says to Mephistopheles, like, I want that piece of land, make it happen.
Right.
And suddenly now it's burning.
Right. He doesn't say, I want them dead. I want the family dead. I want the dog dead. Right. But that's how Mephistopheles is taking it.
Yeah. Right. So Faust comes...
like at Target, where I was a middle manager for 12 years, right? I was a department manager there. At a place like that where there's such turnover and like even really good people who work at Target, they like move to different stores and move up or whatever.
Yeah.
The like whether you have a good time at work is so variable depending on like who your bosses are, right? But I had a boss who would stop us and stop us from saying things like we would get in the habit of saying like, hey, this is really important. We have to do whatever it takes to get this done, which seemed innocuous to us. And he would stop us and say, we can't use that language, do whatever it takes to get things done because like even when you just mean like, hey, work really hard.
Uh-huh.
Some people would be like, do whatever it takes to get things done. Okay, like my boss has told me to
slit some throats.
To slit some throats, right? Exactly. To not to work off of the clock or something,
right.
or to not obey safety measures. Not wash my hands in the kitchen or whatever like that. Yeah, or slit some customers' throats back there. That'll do it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah, you're right, absolutely, because like you just take it for granted, like you have this intention of like, hey, we got to work really hard and stay really focused and not be on our phones or whatever. But someone who's afraid for their job,
right,
would be like, oh geez, well I just got permission to file false reports and and steal money or whatever. Yeah.
Listen, I don't care how you get it done. I just want it done.
I just want it done. I don't want to hear about it. Right, exactly.
But yeah, so Faust comes out onto his balcony after hearing the Watchman's sad song. He's deeply disturbed. I don't think he's that disturbed. I think we understand that he's deeply disturbed because he says, "I am deeply disturbed." Oh no!
Oh no!
That bit of land that I really, 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 really want, but that is owned by other people, is on fire.
Oh no!
Terrible. I'm deeply disturbed.
He does say like, "Oh, my watchman is sad," so maybe he's really upset about that.
Yeah.
This seems to have really upset the people around me, and I have to hear about it.
Yeah. Ay. The tragedy of me.
Of the goddamn night.
Yeah.
Hearing my watchman sing a sad song about burning linden trees. I got to look up what that is even.
Yeah. It's like really inconsiderate, screaming for your lives at 3 a.m. Some of us are trying to sleep. Yeah. Then Mephisto and the three mighty men show up, and Mephisto's all casual about it. He's like, oh, there was a bit of trouble, saying Baucus and Philemon wouldn't respond to requests or threats. He tries to downplay it, saying, they didn't suffer much. They just died of fright. Oh, and by the way, there was the traveler staying with them who they knocked down and left to burn. So
Right. We killed him.
Yes.
You didn't say anything about him. You didn't know he was there.
Right. So,
their adopted son. Yeah.
Yes. So we did what you said.
No more, no less, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we got rid of him.
Mm-hmm. Faust is furious again. I don't think so. I think he's furious in front of anyone. It's like how he's like, oh, okay, and then he sees the the watchman looking at him, and he's like, Mephistopheles, how dare you? Right? And he calls it savage and senseless. This is very, very bad, Mephisto.
Right.
But Mephisto,
bad devil slave who does exactly what I say.
Yes.
And doesn't do anything without my consent.
Yeah, to whom I gave my soul. Bad. Right. But Mephisto and the mighty men, they just shrug it off, basically saying, when force commands, people should just obey gracefully. Yeah. So again, some more human commentary on Mephisto's part right there. And then they leave. Faust is left alone on the balcony watching the fire die down, and he notices these strange shadows drifting towards him. Yes. And that's the next scene, right? We're inside the palace. And it's midnight, and 4 gray women appear in Faust's palace courtyard.
These aren't a grouping from some other place, are they?
What do you mean?
This isn't a reference to something that I'm missing, is it? That
I
couldn't
don't
find?
think so. No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I think because my first thought was like, so their names are want, debt, distress, and care, right? And I first thought of the two, ignorance and want from Christmas Carol. Right?
Yeah, me too.
But no, I think they are just the personifications of those things.
It's not what I would. I don't think you could, if you went into the street and said, "I'll give you $1,000 to name this group of personified emotions that anyone would ever come up with: want, debt, distress, and care."
Inside Out 4.
Yeah, well, I did some research on that. We did a presentation with the psychology department at school. They showed Inside Out too, and they were thinking they had dozens of emotions that they wanted to do or that they could have done. When they're doing it originally. So some of the new ones were ones that they almost put into the first one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the so there's 5 emotions, right?
Yeah.
But the most emotionologists or whatever they call them, I think that's right, emotionologists.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. There's 6 of them. There's 6 that they recognize across cultures. So
okay.
Joy, fear, anger, sadness, disgust, and the 6th one would be surprise.
Oh, okay.
But Pete Docter
Wait,
was
the 6th
like,
one would be what?
Surprise?
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah. They thought that surprise.
Oh, jeez.
Would get really played out really quickly.
Yeah, probably really.
like every single scene. Yeah, she's just oh god, every single time. So so yeah, surprise has not made it into the movie.
Okay. Yeah. I can imagine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can imagine. Whoa. Okay.
But yeah, want, debt,
Distress
and care. Yeah, I never. I don't think anyone has thought of because I thought, it could be like faith, hope, and charity or something like that, or like maybe there's somewhere in the Bible where these things are grouped together, but I don't think they are.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah, that's a movie.
Yeah, right?
Go inside the mind of Lester Ryan Clark.
Oh yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. There's so much Monster Energy drink in here.
I'm drowning in it.
Yeah, Monster Energy drink and podcast. It's just that's it. Yeah. Protein shakes. Yeah. But yeah. Okay. So the first 3, want, debt, distress. They can't get in because Faust is rich, right? Ah, okay. Yeah, sure. Right. Because want didn't mean want. It meant like
poverty.
Poverty, right?
Yeah.
Means like need, like
right.
The needy, and yeah.
Right.
So want, debt, distress, right? They can't get in because Faust is rich, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, physically, what about his soul? Like he's in spiritual debt, I think. Yeah.
Yes, I think he's literally in spiritual debt. I think he has
actually
signed the
more
contract.
than most people. Yeah. Right. But I guess they're only talking about the physical. But care slips in through the keyhole. The other sisters watch as clouds gather and the stars vanish, saying their brother Death is approaching. Okay, so this is the family. We got want, debt, distress, care, and then Big Brother D, Big Brother Death, right? Or Little Brother Death. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And then inside, Faust is talking to himself. He saw 4 figures, but only 3 left. And he heard Death's name mentioned. He's feeling trapped, wishing he could get rid of magic from his life. Oh yeah, now you are, huh, Faust? When it's collection time, yeah.
Well, that brings up a good point. That's different from Marlowe's version, right? In that there is not a ticking clock in this version. There's not. By the end of your 50th year, that's it, right? So so the end of the play has to come from Faust, essentially. Faust has to recognize, like, this is it. This is as long as we've taken it. So that's where he is here. He's like, oh gosh, this needs to end. There's little spirits who can come inside my house and she's nice, Care is super nice.
Sure.
Yeah, but she plays little, spirit tricks on him and stuff, and he's like, this is what I've been doing to everybody else for the past 100 years or whatever, but I cannot have this happen to me.
Yeah. I can dish it out, but
right,
man,
exactly.
Don't ask me to foist my own petard. No.
Yeah. That's everybody's favorite Star Trek captain.
Yep, Captain Petard.
Captain Petard.
Yeah. Foist the engines. Make it so. Yeah. No, he starts philosophizing about how humans can't see beyond death and shouldn't try to be like gods. We should just accept life on Earth with its pains and its joys. You're getting so philosophical and reflective, Faust. Right when the judging is about to happen. Yeah, I like. I think I already said it, folks. I don't know if you can tell. I'm this ending, we'll get to it, but
all right.
Yeah. But yeah, so Care tells him that once she gets hold of someone, their heart fills with darkness, and they can't even enjoy their wealth anymore. So it's okay, because I didn't. I'm still trying to put two together. I know want means poverty. Did care mean like worry?
I thought care was kind. That's why I thought it was like charity or something, kindness or something.
I think it's something different. I think that's how I read it at first too.
Yeah.
But care, I think, is because that's the only thing that like can touch a rich person is paranoia and worry.
Okay. you're worried that your empire isn't going to last, or that you need, you have to expand it all the time.
Right.
Yeah, there's that, like billionaires are richer than they've ever been. At this rate, we will see a trillionaire in our lifetime.
Jesus Christ.
Where that has been a joke before. Like in Watchmen, the joke is that she's Hong Chow is a trillionaire, right?
Right.
But it's like, why do you need that much? And yeah, I think there is a fear of falling behind or dropping off of a list, right? You kind of have to want to fall less than $1 billion.
Yeah.
Right, you have to work at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think there is that the fear of not being the top 1,000 richest people in the world, or whatever Faust is.
And that's the end of all that's every, like mobster movie that I've ever seen is like the rise to, power is like, seductive and it's like, intoxicating and you become, this named person and everything like that. And then always, maybe it's just, Scorsese films or whatever. But like the second half of the movie are these same people who were kind of like, swept up in this fairy tale dream are now like looking out the windows and it's like because now I'm at the top, so everybody wants to kill me, everybody wants my money, everyone, the cops want me, the other mobsters want me, everybody wants a piece of me,
Yeah. I think that is movies. There's an argument that some people make that all literature, but especially mass literature, like mass movies and that kind of TV and that kind of thing, does tend to feed people a bullshit line that that money is bad, that like you would not be happy with money. So it's your favorite book, but A Christmas Carol is like that. Like A Christmas Carol, the idea that rich people are sad. I don't think that's borne out by surveys.
No. I think but that's why I escape to Goodfellas and Christmas Carol and The Godfather and all that stuff, because I'm like, see, like the world does make sense and people get their just desserts and and people learn. And
I think Jeff Bezos is pretty happy, and Zuckerberg seems happy, and Musk, they all seem happy. But also like the downfall thing. I guess that's there's some truth to that, right? Because like when you get it through violence, then people can take it from violence, right? There's some truth to that. But there are multi-generational. Gang like the Kennedys. Like Joe Kennedy was a bootlegger, and he wasn't necessarily a violent bootlegger, but like now within a generation after Joe Kennedy, his son was the president, and that no one asked where the money comes from anymore. He was a bootlegger. He was a gangster.
Yeah. I'm just thinking right now. I don't know if in this current day and age, this is gonna bring some attention onto us or whatever, but. And I honestly don't know how true this is.
You're just gonna say whatever it is, anyways.
Yeah, I'm just gonna spread. Hey, I'm just gonna put it out there. But I recently saw a tweet by, this is supposed to be one of Elon Musk's children on X, saying, "Dad, you're the best dad, and I'm so lucky to have you as a dad." And it was revealed that the person who actually wrote that tweet was Elon Musk.
Yeah. Well, he might be sad, but Bezos is not sad.
He is happy as a pig in shit.
Happy as a pig in shit. Right.
Yeah.
No, but Musk is a very sad person. I think. Yeah. I think that's the truth.
Yeah. Yep. Don't feel sorry for him, folks. We're not saying
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
No, who's saying to feel sorry for Elon Musk?
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about something happier, like this guy selling his soul to the devil.
But anyway, no, you had a really good point that maybe the one thing that he would worry that we would have one of these ghosts who comes in, the gray ladies, is like paranoia or fear about how to manage his empire.
Right. I think that's the one that's able to get in because just like its opposite, I guess, would be like hope is like hope. You can hope is very, very hard to kill. You can take away everything from a person, everything physically, and they can still hold on to hope. And I think going the other direction, right? You can give somebody like every assurance in the world. You can put them in this fantastic mansion, and you can give them every possible good thing, and they will still fear that it will be taken away from them somehow.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I mean, even like, kings and queens, even in the times when it was divine right and God says this is the queen or this is the king,
right?
People would get murdered.
Yeah.
And then you
poison
take
cups
it over.
and all that.
Yeah, and then even within our story, right, the only reason that the anti-emperor doesn't take over the Holy Roman Empire is because of the mighty men, because of war, because of battle. So, that makes a lot of sense. That, he can be taken away from him even if he has the devil as his slave.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So I think that's why Care is in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so Care tells him that once she gets a hold of someone, their heart fills with darkness. They can't even enjoy their wealth anymore. Faust tries to dismiss her, refusing to acknowledge her power, but Care breathes on him, blinding him, and then vanishes. So even though he's physically blind now, Faust says he can feel this bright light inside him. He is determined to complete his plans, so he calls for his workers to get up and make his vision real. All right. So now we're in the next scene. This is Faust's palace again, right? The large outer courtyard, right? So his palace is so big that even in these new scenes, we have like, the setting, and it's another part of his palace, right? Yeah. So now we're in the courtyard. It's lit by torches as Mephistopheles arrives with the... This can't be lemurs.
I think they're lemurs. Are they not lemurs?
It says these are restless spirits of the dead from Roman mythology.
No. I don't like that.
Lemurs. Yeah, in ancient Roman belief, the restless spirits of the dead which were considered frightening and troublesome. Okay.
Oh, well,
how come
the Cliff Notes... The Cliff Notes allows me to think that they're monkeys. So I'm going to thank Cliff.
Okay.
And say that they are not lemures, some kind of Roman
They're not
ghost
lemures.
or something.
They're lemurs.
This Wikipedia article, lemures, not to be confused with lemurs. Well, fuck you. I'll confuse lemures with lemurs all I want.
You know what? Interpretation is 9/10 of enjoying art. So we're going to say that they are lemures, right? They are restless spirits of the dead, right? So they are restless spirits of dead lemurs.
There's got to be something. So the Cliff Notes says, a gang of lemures, a species of monkey, but also a name for a type of ghost.
But no, it's spelled differently.
It's spelled differently from lemurs, for sure.
Yeah.
There's an E in there, lemures, right?
Yeah.
But I know lemurs aren't monkeys.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're not apes either. We're always dodging that bullet. Yeah.
The name lemur is derived from the Latin term lemures, which refers to specters or ghosts that were exorcised during the Lemuria festival of ancient Rome.
Oh, Lemuria. Oh, of course that's where that comes from. Yeah.
So Linnaeus, right, who went and created taxonomy or at least popularized taxonomy, binomial nomenclature and all that.
Yeah.
He was familiar with the works of Virgil and Ovid, and they talked about these ghosts, and so he named lemurs that because they looked like what he read when he read Ovid, and yeah, there you go. All right.
Yeah, they do look kind of ghosty. Yeah.
Yeah, the big old eyes in the darkness. Sounds pretty cool.
All right. Well, there we go. So. So Mephistopheles arrives with the lemurs.
Yeah, with King Julian. And,
right.
And Mort. Yeah.
And these are and he's like, okay, you got to move it.
You got to move it.
No, he has the team digging Faust's grave. Right. Though Faust, now blind, thinks they're working on his canal project.
Yeah, we're working on your canal for you, boss.
Yeah.
Don't you worry about it. Go back to bed.
Yeah. You look dead tired.
Yeah, we'll see you in the morning.
Yeah.
Why do you say it like
morning
that?
Morning spelled M-O-U. One of the lemurs elbows him. It's like, stop. You're going too far.
Yeah, stop with the spelling.
Yeah.
He's got 3 PhDs.
We're lemurs. Yeah. But yeah, so then Faust is describing his final dream. He wants to drain the contaminated marsh so that millions can live and work on this new land, right? not safely exactly, but freely. He says that he wishes he could see all these people living independently on this unbound soil.
So do you think this is all bullshit after his guilt of killing Baucus and Philemon, or like was this somewhere for real? Was he thinking like, oh, I can't do my big project and make basically Eden on the coast of the North Sea in Germany because this old couple is fucking everything up with my plans.
Mm-hmm. And then he kills them and he feels guilty about it. And so now he's like, no, I want this to be a free land for everybody.
Do you think he really meant that, or is like afterwards it's like, no, I only killed them,
No. I think he really, I think he did have a change of heart.
Mm-hmm.
But in my opinion, too late.
All right.
It's still too late. Because the radio play with with Toby Jones.
Yep.
Our guy who plays Faust does a really good job sounding like he has had a change of heart at this point. And he's like, I want everybody to just live, freely and independently on this land. And I was going to make it my own little project, but I want to give it all to them.
Right.
And I believe this guy when he says it. I still don't like Faust.
That's all right.
Yeah. So then he says that if this vision ever came true, he'd tell that moment to stay because it's so beautiful, right? And these are the exact words from his contract with Mephisto that would forfeit his soul. As he imagines this perfect happiness, he experiences his highest moment and falls dead.
You happy, Lester?
Yes, actually.
Faust is dead.
Good.
Are you happy? Are you
folks,
really happy?
Folks, let me just reiterate what just happened. Okay? So he says to himself, I don't want this land for myself anymore. I want to give this to the people for free, and this land can be theirs.
Right.
And this would truly make me happy. Right? And then he dies, right? He dies from the thought of that happening.
Right.
It's like me when I pass that guy on the street who says, "Hey, could I get some spare change?" And I don't do that, but I think about doing that.
Like I could spare some change.
I really could do that, and then I walk away thinking I'm a good person. That's exactly what happened. He thought about it. It didn't get done. I don't think. But yeah. So then he falls down dead.
He has no heirs. There's probably a civil war.
Yeah.
Right
probably.
after that, and everybody gets killed.
Yeah. But yeah, the lemurs catch his body and they lay it down. The lemures, right? And Mephisto's there, and he's commenting on how like nothing ever satisfied Faust, and how he was always chasing after like changing shapes and stuff like that, right? Like all these the new pleasure of the the flavor of the month, right?
Yeah, like grasping at shadows.
Yes, right. But now time has won out, and Faust is dead. Mephisto says he'd actually prefer eternal emptiness to creation. So this is kind of like Mephisto's kind of like playing his hand here. Now he is the devil. Like yes, like non-existence. Yes, oblivion. And he's coming out. And as the lemures start burying Faust, Mephisto's ready with the blood sign contract in case Faust's soul tries to escape. Right. And then though he complains about how many ways there are to cheat the devil these days. Right.
Right.
And he summons some other devils. Right. Lowercase d devils, right, and has them bring Hell's Mouth, which opens up, showing the flaming city, right?
Yeah.
So this has been how many 100 years? He has been waiting for this deal, and he has, Your Honor, I would like to point out that Mephisto has done all of the things that he was supposed to do, right? According to this contract, I'm just going to say, right? But then heaven's host appears, right? It's like millions and millions of angels, right? And they're singing about forgiveness. And Mephisto hates and also kind of is attracted to. Their androgynous singing, right? Since it's cost him so many souls, right? The angels start scattering roses and making the devils flinch.
I don't know. In the John Williams version, it's not really their androgyny. He likes their boyness.
Actually, yeah.
In this translation that I have, it's very much like. I think it very much like he's the gay devil, and that's the joke.
Yeah. I tried so hard for this to be like the Grinch's heart melting, you know? Like I thought it was like it's like I'm the embodiment, I'm the personification of evil, but then these angels come down and they're singing about love and forgiveness, and he's like, no, this is Skeletor being like, no, I'm not a nice guy, no. And his heart melting and him, giving up the ghost, and that's what I at first thought this was, but then Mephisto just keeps on going on. He's like, "Whoa, but they're
but they ass,
yeah, those shapely legs."
Yeah, he's like, they look better turned around. He says of the angels because they got those boy asses. Yeah.
Boy, when I fell from heaven, I hated to see that place leave, but I love to watch it walk away.
Yeah, so I think you're right because the angels don't have gender, I think, but then he's genderizing them. But
right.
Yeah, he's
specifically
using
boys. Yeah,
yeah. So I don't know how much of that's Williams doing that, or but they are such lovely lads. It's quite alarming. But I don't know who he's like protesting that he's never felt this way about men before. Who are you trying to convince, Mephistopheles?
The pizza. But I have a question about this. Have you ever are you familiar with either the poem or the story or the I guess it's turned into a song, The Earl King?
The Earl King? You mean
yes.
Duke of Earl?
No.
Duke, no?
No. In German it's the Erlkönig, right?
Yeah.
But it's the Earl King, right, or the Elder King, or whatever. And it's that song. It starts kind of like Ian describes it. It starts like a Snidely Whiplash thing. It's like and it's basically this father, and he's got his child that's dying in this horse and carriage, and they're racing home. They're racing through the woods of the Earl King, and the Earl King is this spirit who starts appearing to the boy and saying, "Come with me." And it's like he's death trying to get the boy, and the boy keeps on saying oh, Father, I see the Earl King. He has a crown and he has a cape, and I see his daughters are there too. And every time he says, Father, it's like a new verse of the song. It's like I see the Earl King. I see his crown, or I see his cape, or whatever. And the father has to keep saying, no, that's just mist on the ground. No, that's just the trees' branches. No, that's just the moon shining through the clouds. And every time it gets worse and worse because the Earl King keeps on persisting and saying, no, boy, come with me, come on. And it's scary all by itself.
Yeah.
But then you read it, and the words that the Earl King is using are like, you're such a lovely little boy. You're so sweet and tender, and come with me. And it's like, oh, I've never seen such a lad as beautiful as you. And he's talking about physically beautiful.
Right.
But then he's also like, come, you can marry one of my daughters. You can be the next Earl King, and all this stuff. And so my question is, was this a more common thing? At this time, was and I've seen this also in regular old fairy tales. It's and specifically about boys. It's and Hansel was just the sweetest, goodest, most innocent boy, and his frickin' shoulders, am I right? Or something like that. I can't find a specific example now, but I always remember reading these old stories, and they paid so much attention to specifically the little boys, as if that was a normal thing.
Well, you know who wrote the Erlkönig?
Who?
Goethe.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Why didn't I remember that?
So that's fun.
I think we've figured it out, folks.
No, I'm looking it up here. I'd never heard of this, but that's really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's also particularly German. There's Thomas Mann has a novel that is Death in Venice. Do you know that one?
No.
So Death in Venice is about a guy. He goes to Venice.
Okay.
But
and it's like, I was supposed to see you in Samara, says Death.
Hold on. Pardon me. No, not quite.
Oh, okay.
And then, Mann also wrote a Faustus that I guess we're going to skip because we're going to be done with Faust soon. But anyways, but Death in Venice is this guy. He's in his middle age. He's really concerned about dying, and so he goes. I guess a lot of Germans would go to Venice because it's nearby. It's like the closest warm ocean you can go to.
Yeah.
And there he sees like a teenage boy, but like an early teen boy, like a 13-year-old or 12-year-old, something like that. Mm-hmm. And he's like, that is the most beautiful person I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then the novel is not really about him being attracted to the boy, but he does become obsessed with the boy and starts like following him around and like spying on him, which it's obviously at a certain point, like today, we'd be like, well, it doesn't matter if you're attracted to him.
Yeah.
But like it's using that as like this metaphor of like he sees his lost youth, like the boy is what he wants of himself because he's afraid of dying. So that age of boy is like, at least in Thomas Mann, and then I think for what you're saying of Goethe, right, is like an idealized vision of youth. And so youth idealizes not a girl because that would be sexual. So a boy would be non-sexual. So we end up, what we see is sexualizing this boy, I think.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, like it's just like it's always like with the physical. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like skin as white as and I'm like
yeah, exactly. Well, this is the devil who is a randy devil. And makes jokes and things. I think he is like turning to the audience and protesting that he is not attracted to the boy angels. And I think it's supposed to be funny.
Yes, I think so. The way that it was done with the in the radio play, and it's like the songs are like giving him and the other devils like boils and hives and stuff like that.
Yes,
which I'm now allergic to something, folks, and I've never known what that feels like before, but now I know, and I'm like, oh, so that's what hymns feel like to devils. It's like, yeah, that doesn't feel good.
Yeah, that's why it's one of the plagues in the Bible is boils, right? Yeah. But yeah, I think so. It is this band of angels, or you say like maybe all of the angels coming down to save. To save Faust's soul, which is really interesting. And then Mephistopheles is like protesting the angels and being like, but my contract. And these angels are so damn sexy. Yeah. But the contract, come back here. That's very funny to me. He's like, but I'm not attracted to them. They're boys. But here, come back to the contract. Like that's pretty hysterical.
Yeah. And yeah, so it love wins out, I guess.
Because they bring Faust and he wins.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, love.
Yeah. So yeah, the devils are losing their strength and their courage. They end up doing cartwheels and diving back into hell. Just in case you were confused about the tone of this part, they don't like fall back into hell. They do cartwheels back into hell. Right? Yeah. It looks like Team Devil's blasting off again. Right. Then something. I like how in my notes. Then something weird happens.
Well, hold on. Before we do that, this is interesting because you can go the entire 9 previous acts and wonder if Mephistopheles has been saying he's the devil, but he's lying.
Right.
But here, this is the first time where we see him controlling and ordering the armies of hell.
Yes.
Yeah, and saying like, hey, now let the mouth of hell open, and it's unmistakably the mouth of hell as opposed to like a pentagram, right. And him sneaking through. So like he has for 100 years or whatever this has been he's been out of hell. Yeah. Even though he's the king of hell or whatever, the prince. And he's been doing this one case by himself, right?
Yes.
So yeah, now I believe him, right? I mean, so now this is irrefutable. He is the devil.
Yes.
He's not like Captain Howdy or Pazuzu in The Exorcist saying he's the devil, and then you call him out on that. He is the devil.
Yes, right. The actual devil.
Right.
But yeah, he gets thwarted by the beauty of these angels. Is the nicest way I can say it. And Mephisto finally snaps out of it. He's covered in boils, but glad to be back to his devilish self. But he has lost his prize, Faust's noble soul. Noble Mephistopheles, come on. Right? He calls himself a fool who wasted all his work because he got distracted by lust. The ultimate irony, the devil himself got defeated by pure foolishness.
I saw a different reading of it, which I'm not sure. So I don't see that here in the text. So, and you don't have it in your notes either. But I see that some people saying that what really loses the bet for Mephistopheles is that his contract is null and void because he loses the first bet to God.
Okay, the first bet to God was, I can show you that Faust is irredeemable.
Right. And God redeemed him.
But my question is, why?
Right. But so then there's so what Faust and Mephistopheles are engaged in turns out to be a subcontract to the main contract about I can prove to you that you could be happy or not, right?
Right.
And so then he makes Faust happy, and in making Faust happy, that proves that he's redeemable to God when God controls who he redeems. So God cheats. Mephistopheles loses.
I think I personally don't even think this is their bet was that Faust will become a good person.
Right.
He did not become a good person.
God made him a good person. He doesn't let bad people into heaven.
He's a good. Yeah, no, that's it. It's like my lord, how do you prove that he's a good person? And, and God's like, well, he's up here now.
Yeah, exactly. I made him a good person.
But listeners, please back me up on this. He thought about doing a good deed, and then he died. He never actually did the good deed.
He doesn't need to do a good deed. They're not Catholic, Lester. He needs to have it in his heart. Doesn't actually have to do it. Can God make an irredeemable asshole so irredeemable that not even he could redeem him?
We got the problem of evil. We got the problem of Mephistopheles. All right. Well, okay. We still got more. We got another scene here.
But we're done with Faust. He's up in heaven.
He's up in heaven. Yeah.
So you're really mad at him. So
yeah, I don't think he deserved it.
Deserves got nothing to do with it, as they say.
I guess not.
In Unforgiven.
Yeah.
But where does he? Yeah. So he seems pretty happy. He doesn't have any parting lines to Mephistopheles. Mephistopheles is pretty pissed. But he seems to be okay because he got to look at all those angel asses.
Yeah.
There isn't really a final thought from either Faust nor Mephistopheles, and they don't get a scene together where they explain the last 100 years of their lives to each other.
Right. Yeah. This is kind of like those old Disney cartoons where Prince John isn't dead. He's just in a stereotypical prisoner's, get up, breaking rocks, and he's just kind of like, it's like, oh, phooey, right? While everybody's celebrating, and that's what we got Mephistopheles doing here is he lost, and he's kind of just he's got his hands in his pockets, and he's like, oh shucks, right? While everybody else parties it up. So we're in these mountain gorges with forests and rocks where religious hermits live. These are the fathers of the church. They're singing about purified love and how divine love shapes and maintains everything in nature. And a group of innocent children who died at birth float through as happy spirits. And one of the fathers, Pater, is it Pater or Potter?
I guess Pater.
Pater. Seraphicus, Pater Seraphicus, tells them to fly higher.
Again, very not Catholic.
Yeah, right?
These babies who died before they could do their sacraments go up into heaven. Yeah.
Yep. And then up in the sky, angels are carrying Faust's immortal soul. They're celebrating how they saved him from hell with their roses. But the more perfect angels aren't too happy about carrying his soul in its current state. It's still too mixed up with earthly elements. I would say it's pretty much that's all it is, boys. Just drop it. Just drop it on the ground.
But notice they're shepherding him up to heaven, but they're also not allowing him to speak.
Yeah.
And ruining it. Like, shh, don't say anything.
Shut up. Just shut up.
I don't belong in heaven. Shh, shh, shh.
We're gonna get you in if you keep your mouth, your goddamn mouth shut. Right? But they say only eternal love can separate these two natures.
Right.
So then, high up in a mountain cell, there is this saint called Dr. Marianus, who sees the Virgin Mary surrounded by women seeking mercy. 3 former sinners who have been redeemed: Mary Magdalene, the woman of Samaria, and Maria.
What's she doing there? Isn't she supposed to be over in Samaria?
Yeah, I know. Death is over there like, where's the we had an appointment. All right. And then Maria Egyptica?
Yeah, Mary of Egypt.
There we go. Yeah.
I think the woman of Samaria is the woman who bathed Jesus' feet during his crucifixion or leading up to the crucifixion.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
You know that version. Like one of the last people that Jesus chooses to be with is a sinner.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And they're all around the Virgin Mary, and they're asking Mary to forgive another penitent. Gretchen, what are you doing here? It's Gretchen, guys. Gretchen is here.
I got Gretchen here. See, nobody cares.
Okay, so yeah, Gretchen from part 1. Remember, this is Margaret, right? Is clinging to Mary, asking her to look kindly on Faust. No, Gretchen, what are you doing,
girl? You could do better, girl. No, she says, "Go ahead."
You died because of him,
right? But she forgives because she's a good
and
person.
Your whole family, your mom, your kid,
your brother,
Jesus, and your brother. I forgot about
right, but she forgives. She turns the other cheek. She's being Christian.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's asking the Virgin Mary, right, to look kindly on Faust, who was her young love. No, he wasn't.
He gaslit you, girl.
Gretchen.
He was poisoning your mind. He used magic to trick you.
She watches as Faust's soul breaks free from its earthly bonds, becoming young again. And Mary, the Virgin Mary, tells Gretchen to rise higher, saying Faust will follow when he senses her presence.
All right, this is maybe too serious of a question.
Okay.
I think it's a good dinner party question to get to know people, with good friends.
Yeah.
But in heaven, you could be whatever age you want, apparently, right? So we've talked about that, like personal views of heaven or the Mormon idea of heaven, right? And like Lester would be in my heaven, but it would be my vision of Lester, right? The Lester I want in my heaven, and I would be in my own heaven.
Not this like wheezy, crusty, broken old thing you see before you now. No.
Right. Yeah. How old would you be? Which Lester would be in heaven?
Oh. Yeah, I would say like 30 to 35.
Oh, really? That's recent.
Yeah.
That's like right now.
Oh.
You're 41, right?
Oh, pshaw, yes. Okay.
So you're talking about 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, no, like early 30s, I would say.
Okay, I think I would go. I think I would go way back to 16. Yeah, I think I would. Yeah, like that was, I think, my physical prime. And I didn't know it then, of course. I thought I was a skinny little shit. And I hated that. Yeah. So in theory, you get to be as old as you are emotionally and with that wisdom, right? But you get to choose your body, which is the least important part of you.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
So apparently Faust, if it is Faust's choice, has chosen to be like the version of Faust with Gretchen from the first one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. When he was at his prime doing his most gaslighty, most criminal, when he was the best sex criminal that he could be.
Exactly. And let's not forget, folks, that Faust, that was a fake physical Faust anyway. Because Mephistopheles did that to him. Faust was an old man at the beginning of this play when Gretchen was young.
Right, you're right.
And Mephistopheles was like, "Here, drink this witch's brew, and you'll become younger.
Right,
you'll look younger." So, like, if he's asking, he's like, "Lord, make me as young as I was when I met Gretchen." Like, I mean, if it were up to me, I'd be like, "Okay," and then nothing would happen because, like, you fucking cheated.
Right.
But no, he gets to be like for real that young. And
forever and ever, amen.
Yeah, right. So the play ends with this mystical chorus singing about how everything temporary is just a symbol, and how what's impossible on earth becomes possible in heaven, like Faust being a good person, I guess. Things we can't even describe here become real up there. Right. They finish by saying that the eternal woman shows us the way upward. And that's how Goethe's Faust ends.
Yeah, so when we go through a play like this, I try to search all of the key things I could find. And often, because I can't understand what's going on in some of these on the first blush, I have to go into wikias and course heroes and cliff notes, etc. So this last sentence, or half a sentence because there's a semicolon, eternal womanhood draws us all on. The Wikipedia page for the phrase eternal womanhood is longer than the Wikipedia page for Faust Part 2. So, yeah, so like apparently that term, everyone was like, oh wow, and it's Goethe's phrase specifically. Oh, so I've done as much reading as I could do, reasonably. But apparently this idea of the eternal femininehood, the eternal woman, and that being this redemptive force was such a like a flashpoint for tons and tons of philosophers and people who have come afterwards. So
are they just talking about like the pagan, the goddess, but like not wanting to call it that and trying to make it their own thing?
Not that I've seen. No, not that I've seen. It is this new German thing that Goethe is the first person to coin. And it is about a specifically, like Christian version. So I didn't see anything relating it to the goddess. I didn't see anything relating it to even like Jung's ideas of the anima and animus, like the anima is the feminine within the male and the animus is the male within the feminine. This is something different, apparently. So I've done as much reading as I can, but I don't think I understand it. But like that is a huge fight, the discussions about like what this means, like a Christian version of redemption that is feminine. So obviously, like in Christianity, we talk about the three masculines, the Trinity is masculine.
It's very patriarchal, yes.
Yeah. So where do we put that? And then usually within Protestantism, one of the things that certain Protestant denominations critique about Catholicism is how much attention they pay towards the Virgin Mary. Right, and they're like, "Where's that in the Bible?" Right, like no, it's Jesus and not the mother. Like that's and so this is like reconstituting that. So yeah, like the Virgin Mary has a place here, as well as Mary Magdalene, and then this feminine spirit. So Goethe coined again. Just one sentence at the end. Apparently, is you could do your whole life in criticism. Your whole study. So let me just look here. Nietzsche talks about it.
Wow.
Nietzsche. Sorry. Freud, Jung. Zora Neale Hurston in with like American Black eternal motherhood. Just everyone everywhere. So so it's something different. And then in Germany, like when Germany had its second wave feminism, like we had ours in like the 60s and 70s. They had theirs apparently in the 80s, if I'm understanding this correctly. That they were talking about Goethe's idea of the eternal feminine, and that was their like rallying cry around it. And it's just like one last sentence about that. And so Helen of Troy and Gretchen, who, we've kind of talked about that, like Faust seeing all women as the same, right? And not it doesn't seem to matter whether it's Gretchen or whether it's Helen.
Right.
So in some readings, it might be like a way of Goethe to bridge that gap and be like, no, I'm saying that is a positive thing. Like I'm saying that like Gretchen and Helen of Troy are both of these positive visions of femininity that Faust, isn't worthy of, and then by the end of it, he is worthy of.
I see. So at first he sees, he's creeping on Gretchen,
Right.
And then because like she's kind of like the closest thing to Helen of Troy,
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then he gets Helen of Troy, and he's creeping on her
Because it's the closest you can get to Gretchen.
Right.
Right.
And then like at the end of it all, we're saying that he was worthy of neither of them,
Mm-hmm.
and that the feminine spirit is even though he is unworthy, is kind of like being a mother to him and kind of like lifting him up.
Right. That's my understanding of it. Again, like apparently there's books and books and books about this one sentence in Faust. So I don't know if I'm fully understanding it. And then apparently the people disagree with each other and write all of that, back and forth. But that is my understanding exactly.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And then, some people are like, well, there's that's stereotypical, right? To be like, all femininity can be boiled down to one thing, but
it's like the monolith, yeah.
Yeah, even if it's a positive, right?
Right.
Yeah, but
positive generalizations are still generalizations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Faust was saved by basically the mercy that it's more likely that Gretchen / Helen of Troy would have true Christian mercy on Faust than Faust would have on others.
Right. Yeah.
Because of their feminine purity.
Right. So they are better than Faust, and therefore they save Faust. So Faust wasn't saved because he's good.
Right.
He was saved because mom loves her son.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. And so I don't know, maybe that's why Mephistopheles can't lust after the girl angels.
Yeah.
He has to lust after the boy angels. What do Mephistopheles' boy angels look like? Mario Lopez, you think? Like, what's his? He seems so shocked to see them. He's like, I've never seen anything like this before.
I'm just remembering Walpurgis Night, and he was dancing with, because we had
right.
No.
Right.
We had before that, we had the double date with, so Faust was with Gretchen,
right,
and he was with, I think her name was Martha,
right?
Mm-hmm. Gretchen's neighbor,
yeah,
right?
He delighted in killing her husband so that he could be there, but he wasn't really into her, right?
Right, but I think also he kind of was, like he liked these like older, more mature, worldly women, and then like we have Walpurgis Night, and he's Faust is dancing with this like young witch,
right,
and he's dancing with this older kind of like a bigger
right,
witch, and they're both having like these tree metaphors. He's like Faust is calling her like this, like this apple tree like from the Garden of Eden, and then we cut to Mephistopheles, and he's like, I remember I dreamed that I saw this tree with this great big crack, and and the witch is loving that, and like so I thought he was like it was like these randy. I think he's just, he loves the randy worldly creatures of the earth, and then but he loves it in a different way than he is like he is beholden to these angels in a way that like he can enjoy time with these witches and with Martha and everything like that, but like he's under the angels' spell.
Yeah. He's shocked about that to himself.
Yeah,
he cannot fathom it. It like Victor Victoria, where Julie Andrews goes, she can't get a job as a woman singer. Do you know this movie?
Oh no.
So it's the Germany in the 30s or Austria in the 30s, and she the 20s, and she can't get a job as a soprano, but so she becomes a drag queen. So she says, "My name is Victor. I'm presenting myself as Victoria, who is my drag name." So she's pretending to be a female impersonator. And then she gets the job. She becomes famous, and then James Gardner is falling in love with her. And then he's like, "What does this mean?" What? He's like this gangster. He's like, this isn't right. This isn't right.
Yeah,
and Mephistopheles is like, no. They look like Idris Elba or something up there. And he's like, this. I've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
Or whoever. Who is People Magazine's most sexy man?
Like Keanu at the end of Devil's Advocate.
Devil's Advocate.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember. Do you know who Sexiest Man Alive is this year?
Oh, who?
You haven't heard?
No.
John Krasinski. So he's the sexiest man alive this year.
Hang on. How do you spell that?
Krasinski from The Office.
Wait a minute. Wait, John.
Krasinski.
Am I thinking of the same? Wait.
Yeah, from The Office.
Okay.
So that's who Mephistopheles sees up there. Just like 100 Krasinskis.
And all those memes with the little thing, Yeah. He's the meme that like writes on the whiteboard. It's like the.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, whiteboard. Yeah, it's him, right?
Yeah.
So that's what he sees. He sees John Krasinski, and on the whiteboard on this meme it says, "You thought you were into worldly women, but you're really into the heavenly host."
Jeez. That's very funny. All right.
Yeah. Well, folks, we hope you enjoyed the ride. It was crazy. It was topsy-turvy. This was Goethe's Faust. We did it. I feel like I've gotten to the top of a really tall mountain. And I'm catching my breath here. I can't believe that it's all done. But actually, it's not all done because we have two more things that we're going to do before we close out the Faust season and take a little break before coming back with our new season. But we gotta finish our Faust with we gotta finish this trinity of Marlowe, Goethe, and the next one is Gounod, the opera. So we're going to be looking at the Faust opera. And I am specifically going to be watching the one from the Royal Ballet and Opera. That one I did have to kind of like register on their website and watch it, to watch it streaming there. You don't have to do that because there's a bunch of versions on YouTube as well that you can watch for free. I'm specifically watching it because the costumes. I really like the how this production looks, and this Mephistopheles looks really cool.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to be watching that, but like they're all going to be the same, just with like different costumes, right? It's the same song, same story, and everything like that. But we'll be watching that next and talking about it. I imagine it's not going to be as long as these other ones because it's the story. We know the story. We're just going to be talking, I think, a little bit more about like the opera side of it, the opera itself, and what they decide to keep in, and I guess how Mephisto and Faust are different in this version and everything. This is, I think, like it's safe to say, this is the opera is kind of like the end result of the Faust story. Would you say? Like this is where it comes to a head, right? Before kind of like inspiring other stories where they don't call him Faust and Mephistopheles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I don't know the opera very well at all. So I don't know why I haven't been paying attention to all of the versions of Phantom of the Opera that I have seen that they're actually doing Faust. Yeah. But I also rewatched Martin Scorsese, who we were talking about earlier. I watched his movie The Age of Innocence, and that starts with all the characters at Faust, the opera.
Aha, okay. Yeah. There is a, I remember watching this when I was very young. There's like a 4-hour version of the Phantom of the Opera, and I think it's like maybe the only version the only version that I know of that has the Faust opera in it. Yes. And they actually do pieces of it, and there's like they actually and it's set in the Paris Opera House, so it's the Paris Opera House putting on a production of the opera that's in Phantom of the Opera, which is Faust, right? And I'll link that in the group so you can see, because I think somebody has like compiled just all the Faust bits from there.
Cool.
And you can watch it. It's not the whole play again, but like you can kind of see like a version of it. But yeah, so I'll be posting links to free versions that you can find.
Great.
And yeah,
and then after that, I'll be showing Lester a movie version of Faust. And I know that there are a bunch of movies about the Faust story, but this one is called Faust, and it is from the German Expressionist period. And this is from 1926 by F.W. Murnau, who is one of the most important directors. And if you know him, you probably know him from Nosferatu, which was recently remade. So this has some really striking imagery that I want Lester to take a look at. And yeah, there are some changes, obviously, to the Goethe one, but it's pretty close to Goethe's Act 1. But yeah, some of the images in there, I think, are really key to how we think about the devil.
Aha, okay. And you would say that this one, obviously, it's called Faust. It's not called Dr. Faustus. So we're pulling more from Goethe than Marlowe.
Yeah, it's Gretchen and Martha and all of that, but it ends at the end of Act 1. And it, well, you'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay. Yeah, but it is Faust, a German folktale, and it is based specifically on the Goethe one.
Okay, great. Yeah. So we got that coming up, folks. And then after that, we're going to take a brief pause while we gather up our notes and we get ready to do our next season, which is going to be, I don't know if we have a title for it yet, but it's going to be all of those The Devil and Blank stories, right? So we got The Devil and Tom Walker, The Devil and Daniel Webster, right?
The Devil and Robert Johnson.
Yep. There's a cartoon called The Devil and Daniel Mouse, which we're going to be reviewing. Yeah, so it's going to be all of that stuff. The Devil and whoever, right?
You can do the porno.
What's that?
The porno.
There's a porno?
Yeah.
What am I talking about? Lister, of course there is.
The Devil in Miss Jones.
Really? Okay, that's
a pun. Yeah, the Devil in Miss Jones.
Oh, the Devil in Miss Jones.
Yeah, it's a pun on that exact story, though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe that's a bonus. No, I don't know. Anybody want to pay to hear us talking about that? Yeah. But yeah, so it's going to be The Devil and, whomever for our next season, and I'm excited about that.
Great.
But yeah, folks, this has been another episode of The Devil's Details. I've been Lester Ryan Clark. You can summon me on all the socials as Lester Ryan Clark.
And I've been Keenan Diaz, so you can invoke me on Instagram and Letterboxd as Howdy Keenan.
Yeah, find more of our shows and other really cool podcasts at truestory.fm or drop us a message at Banana for Scale Mail, that's MAIL, @gmail.com. We got our Facebook listener group, Banana for Scale. That's a community for all of our shows, including this one. It's a private group, but just request to join and we'll let you in. If you want more, consider joining us at truestory.fm/join and look for Banana for Scale. That's us. You get bonus episodes of all of our shows, access to our Discord, and you get your episodes a week early. Pretty cool. Just $5. Wouldst thou like to live deliciously? We're not even asking for your souls. Just give us a 5 pentagram rating on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to our show. That and sharing the show by word of mouth or on social media helps our little podcast grow and find more cool people like you. All right, folks. It has been a ride. It has been a ride with Mephistopheles and Faust on a windy Walpurgis night. Until next time, love and hisses. Mwah.